Okay, so now we're going to talk about the greatest common factor. And if we read into the word greatest common factor, we can find out that the greatest is a large number. Common means between two or more numbers, and factor is division. So I'm looking for the largest number that comes out of all my numbers through division. We do this when we reduce fractions. It also comes out, and an example that we're going to use today is our prime factorization tree. So if I have a number, let's write it as 24. I can factor that guy out in 2 and 12. 2 is prime, so I don't need to go any farther with it. 12 goes to 2 and 6. 6 goes to 2 and 3. If you remember how we write that as 2 times 3, and we have 3 2's. So there's my prime factorization for the number of 24. Well, as we do this, we're going to be comparing more than one number typically. So we've got 24 and 36. And I want to know the greatest common factor of those two numbers. Well, this is a number that you can probably find out fairly quick. Maybe something that you know. So it's the largest number that comes out of both of them through division. Well, as I look at these two numbers, and numbers can kind of be a pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break these guys down. So 34 and 24, 24 and 36. I'm going to break that down. We've done this one in the previous slide. So we know that 2 and 12. We know that 2 and 6. And we know that 2 and 3. So I've got 2 cubed times 3. And that is my prime factorization for 24. 36, and you can do this different ways. So I'm going to go 6 and 6 this time. Neither one of those are prime. So I get 2 and a 3. My other 6, I get a 2 and a 3. My prime factorization for this is 2 squared times 3 squared. And how I use this in order to find out my greatest common factor is I look at these two numbers and say I can pull a 2 out of both of those through division. So if I pull a 2 out, how many is the most amount of 2's? Well, I can get 2 of those. I can also pull a 3 out of both of those. And how many is the most? Well, because of this guy over here, I get 1, 3. Well, that's an actual number. 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. Thus, my greatest common factor, or largest number I can pull out of 24 and 36 through division, is 12. Letters, on the other hand, are actually easier. So if I take n, and I have n cubed, my greatest common factor there with the largest or most amount of n's that I can pull out of both. I have n's in common. I can pull out an n. The largest one is actually the lesser in my exponent. So this is n to the first and n to the third. So the largest or most amount of n's I can pull out is just one of those guys. So as you can see, it becomes a lot more simple. A couple more examples here. So let's say I pull numbers and letters. So I have a 9a squared b cubed and c. And I have 81. I have a b squared c cubed. And I want to know what greatest common factor is. Well, I can tell between 9 and 81. 9 is a factor of 81, so it is the greatest common factor, the largest number I can pull out of both of them. I can pull out an A, a B, and a C out of both of them. The most A's I can pull out because of this guy over here is 1. The most B's I can pull out the lesser amount, which is 2. And the lesser amount of C's I can pull out is because of this guy over here, which is 1. So my greatest common factor there, didn't mean to draw a line through it, is 9ab squared c. And it can look a little goofy, but it's still the same kind of thing. The greatest common factor. If I pull out, let's go another example, 4. I've got the quantity 3a minus 4. And I'm going to add to it a b, 3a minus 4. Well, what's my greatest common factor here? Well, what can I find in both? And in this case, you got to be kind of careful here because you have to know the quantities. When I multiply, that is one quantity. Here is my second quantity. All right, so what can I pull out of both of those terms? I can pull out a 3a minus 4. I can pull that quantity out, and the most I can pull out is the lesser of my exponents. And because both of these are 1, I get the greatest common factor of 3a minus 4. And that will prove very beneficial in the up and coming sections. So reference that when you get to the next section as well.